Tiny House Prepper.
Live simple, live free.
Hey everybody, I'm Bill,
And I'm Elizabeth with Tiny House Prepper.
and we are here in Kentucky, in northern Kentucky, in Kincaid Lake State Park. And today we are going
To the Ark. I'm so excited. I've been hearing so much about it.
to the Ark Encounter. Yeah, it's about, GPS says it's 37 minutes from here.
Yeah.
So, we've mentioned in previous videos that we're going to the Ark Encounter, and a few people have asked what that is. So, let me give you a little rundown. There's a man named Ken Ham, and he is a creation scientist, and he has an organization, a ministry called
Answers in
Genesis.
Yes, Answers in Genesis.
And so he and his organization a few years ago built what's called the Creation Science Museum. It's in northern Kentucky, just south of Cincinnati, Ohio. And we went there the first summer that they were open, and it was really fabulous. Talking about really, that there is scientific basis for the flood.
Yeah, and scientific basis for creation.
And for creation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after he was done with that, then he went and built what's called the Ark Encounter, which is an exact to scale replica of the Ark, based on the information we have in Scripture about the size and all that kind of stuff.
And we don't know what's been happening with the Creation Science Museum since that first year. I think it's really even grown since then.
Right.
But yeah, apparently the Ark is like the actual size, from the best they can determine, of the actual Ark. Mm-hmm. And I have heard that it's like one of the biggest wooden things ever built.
Yeah. So we don't know exactly what it is, but we're very excited to go and to see and to walk through Noah's Ark.
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
Yeah. Now at the ticket counter I saw that they had several different packages where you could upgrade to be able to see the Ark Encounter and the Creation Museum over several different days. So in the parking area there's actually plenty of room for RV parking, for oversized parking. And then after you park, you get on this shuttle bus that takes you up to the Ark.
Yep.
Because that's a long way to walk.
And I'm actually using my walker today because it's a lot of walking. That way I can sit down if I need to.
Right.
And I know they designed this so that it would actually float safely. Got that deep keel. And this design apparently floats really safely.
Noah is in his 600th year, and much has happened. His father, Lamech, passed away 5 years ago, and his grandfather, Methuselah, died in the past year at the age of 969. 7 days ago, the Lord commanded Noah to enter the ark along with his family.
So Noah, his wife Imzara, and their 3 sons and their wives spent the past week loading the animals and are now storing the last of the provisions on the ark.
They need to hurry. The storm is almost here. This place is really built for crowds. We don't have any today because it's early May, but this is the entrance to get in, the serpentine track there. And then once you get underneath, there's all those turnstiles just waiting to get up into the ark. So they could handle massive crowds, and I'm so glad we don't have them today. This is inside the very bow of the ship in the front.
Trying to imagine the work involved for all those 8 people in feeding and watering this many animals. And you know, how do they carry that much fresh water? It's very interesting to me. Yeah. Wow.
They had hundreds, I don't know, maybe even thousands of these small cages. And then they stored the water in these clay pots. I guess they had cisterns on the roof to catch rainwater to store in these pots. This is pretty cool because they got all these little cages all over the place. And right here is where you put in the food. And over here, the water. Automatically puts the water in, just like a hamster cage.
Yeah, made out of clay.
It's all made out of clay. That's pretty cool. And there are thousands of these cages all over the place.
אנו מבקשים את רחמך בסופה נוראית זו. קראת לי לבנות ספינה. אלוהים שבשמיים, אנו באים לבנות ספינה. שומר על משפחתי והאחיות שלי. ושאפתי לכבד לך.
Wow, they have cisterns on the other decks. Cool. I wanted to talk a little bit about the different kinds of animals. You know, if you think about it, if all the dogs in the world weren't being carefully kept into separate types, they'd all kind of end up being a sort of a wolf-like animal again, because all the genetic material is in like original animals that God made. But let me just look at what they're saying here on this chart. I found this to be fascinating. Estimating the number of animals on the ark depends on several factors. Near the top of that list is the decision to split or lump the animals that may or may not be related as kind. So a coyote, wolf, dingo, domestic dog can generally interbreed, though they can be lumped into the same kind. So Noah just needed 2 of a dog kind on the ark. We're going to show a chart later that shows a lot of the different things that came from a dog kind. But they were very careful about this. There's approximately 24 known families of bats living and extinct. They don't know for sure that all of them can interbreed, so they had to make sure they had plenty with them. So they didn't bring just 14 bats on the ark, because they'll be the flying animals. They're bringing 300 of them, just so that they're going to be careful to only support lumping together when it's valid.
I had walked past this family a little earlier, and I overheard a discussion, and I heard one of the women say that this man in the wheelchair was 102 years old, and here he is touring the Ark. How cool is that?
This thing could hold 450 semi-trailers. Goodness. It's a model. You want to get up and walk around and look at it? Stretch your legs.
Here's a cross-cut model of the Ark. We're going to be here all day going through this. Pretty amazing. So how long did it take Noah and his boys to build the Ark? The likely view is that it took 75 years, and there are other views that says it took 100 or even 120 years to build. Now this particular ark was built in 6 years. It started in 2010, and it had a crew of hundreds of workers, including many Amish, and it was completed in 2016. How you doing?
Good. This is just an amazing experience being inside this like this. And they really are working and using good science and how they deal with the different animal species and all that stuff. It's kind of amazing and kind of overwhelming. It's super big.
We have just been through the first floor. We got, what, 2 more to go?
2 floors to go, yeah.
And we stopped for a quick snack.
Yeah, got some tea and some nuts.
Yeah. We've done 2 floors, so we came back outside to eat at the buffet. And then I guess down here they also have a zoo. So this place is more extensive than I realized it was. Ready to eat?
Yes, I am. This has been amazing.
We're not done yet. We got 1 more floor to go.
I know. Incredible.
This is the entrance to the buffet. Looks like the buffet there in the center. Go see what we can find. I took some footage of the buffet itself, and somehow the footage got lost. That was very disappointing because I wanted to show you this. This is by far the best buffet Elizabeth and I have ever seen. And this is the first plate that I had. And I think we would drive all the way to Kentucky just for this buffet. It was absolutely amazing. There's some amazing systems for caring for the animals. This is a cistern up here where the water is stored. They would pull up this handle to allow the water to run down the pipe. Then over here, here's another one that allows it down into the tank, which then puts it into the tub where the animals that are stored down here can drink it.
It won't bother him. He's used to it. Okay. Yeah. Not to say that he likes it, but he doesn't usually make a big deal about it. Yeah. You can. It's fine.
Now, what is he exactly? Is he?
He's a rhinoceros iguana. So just back here, please.
It's really much softer than I expected. I expected like a snake, and it's not.
Yep.
He's very soft. Those are alpacas, right?
Llamas.
Llamas.
Alpacas are much smaller.
Okay.
Yep. So we actually have alpacas down in our zoo if you go and visit, and you can tell the difference. It's kind of hard. They look really similar until you know like kind of the differences of them. So they are in the same family though. So.
Now, part of the top floor was given over to living quarters. Now, they didn't know how long they were going to be there, but they knew it was going to be quite a while, so they made it as comfortable as they could. Now, this is not actually in the scripture. This is just speculation. But with all the time they had to work on this, there's no reason that they could not have done this.
Yes, I told you. And that we do know. No, Shem is the one that would follow the line of Christ, though. Yeah.
And here's a chart that showed two views of our world. And you know, a lot of scientific evidence could be interpreted either way, which creation is very feasible. This is talking about that using the different kinds of animals. Let me show you a good example. Any kind of a canine could all interbreed, and so all of these different animals could result in dogs. And when you look at here, all these different animals are cat kinds, and all of them are different types of cat. You would only need one type that could eventually form all the different kinds.
If I can convince you that the flood was not real, then I can convince you that heaven and hell are not real. If Satan can convince the world that Noah's flood was a fairy tale, that it's not true, then everything else in the Bible also becomes suspect, including the virgin birth, the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, and even the very existence of heaven and hell.
Once upon a time, there was an old man of God. His name was Noah, and his task was quite odd. One day the Lord said to build a little boat. Make it nice and cute, but who cares if it will float? Be sure to make room for an elephant or two, and for monkeys and giraffes in your floating wooden zoo. It will rain quite hard for 40 days and nights, 'cause men are so mean and have started many fights. So kind old Noah built his little wooden ark, and all his friends laughed when he told about his lark. The rain beat down, and the dark clouds loomed, the lightning flashed, and the thunder boomed. All of the creatures were packed tight into the ship, but when the first wave hit, Noah's boat did a flip. The ark was demolished from floorboard to rafter, and no man or beast lived happily ever after. And I wanted to share these beautiful backlit pictures, just talking about the waters rising up from the deep during the time of the flood, and the water levels rising globally, and then eventually, animals and all the things were beginning to be buried in all of the debris. The mountains were not as tall as they are now, and so the water was like rising above all the level of the mountains at the time. But as the earth was shifting around, huge mountain ranges were formed. And eventually the ark then rested, on the top of what they called Ararat. And the waters began to drain away. And then, once Noah knew it was safe, the animals were able to be set free. a new world. In approximately 1 year, the wicked pre-flood world consisting of a supercontinent is destroyed, and a new world with 7 continents rises from the waters. These are covered with layers of fossil-filled sediment deposited by water, testifying of the biblical account in Genesis. Noah's family is given an opportunity to start over, to be fruitful, multiply, and fill the earth. Well, this has been an exhausting and extremely amazing day, honestly.
Yep. What a fabulous thing.
Yes.
You know, when we were first finding out about it, people were saying, you know, it's going to take you at least 6 hours to go through that thing. And we're thinking, 6 hours? How's that? So we were there for 7 hours. And
Right.
we didn't see it all. Towards the end, we just sort of rushed through it.
Although I tried really hard to look at every display, it was
Yeah.
fascinating to me. We really did our best. We didn't spend all that much time in the shops at all, mainly just trying to really dig into the science and all the different things that they were showing and demonstrating. I found it to be fascinating.
Yep.
And we did do all 3 floors. And I tell you, for today, I was glad I had my walker, because my balance has been, you know, decently good, especially, you know, the insoles that I'm wearing really help. But it's a lot of walking, and just knowing I had someplace I could sit down
Right.
helped a lot.
There were
So-
a few benches here and there, but she needed to be able to sit whenever she needed to sit. So.
Right, right. And it kept me going for a very, very long day. But, oh my goodness, it was just fascinating.
Right.
It was just...
You know, it brought it to life. Mm-hmm. And you looked at that thing and you think, this thing is so amazingly monstrous, and this man and his 3 sons built this thing.
Yeah.
No wonder it took them 100 years to do it.
However long it was, somewhere around there, yep. Yeah.
But it was colossal, and it just brought it to life, and it helped you understand what they really went through and how God was involved in all of it, in saving them and saving mankind and all the animals and everything else. So we really highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Especially if you can spend a few days. You can go to the Creation Science Museum and the Ark Encounter.
Yeah.
I think they're about like 35 miles apart or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it's workable.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just speechless.
Yeah.
I can't think of what to say.
Well, and, you know, when we look at what we consider scientific evidence, you know, so many things depend on your point of view. And I really appreciated the care that went in to putting good basis and background on all the things that they thought would probably have worked out a certain way, or how it was done. They put a lot of real smart thought into it. And I'm, you know, really impressed. I don't know what else to say. It's not slapped together. It's very carefully thought out. It's not this kind of cute, naive little thing. Not at all. Very, very serious undertaking. And at one of the rooms that we were in, they had a whole bunch of books that have shown how that when people make light and make a mockery out of Noah's Ark, people start treating it like that's just a silly kid's story. But my goodness, the different things that we see in this world, they're directly answered by a major worldwide flood. And the way that this ark could have worked,
Yeah.
it's, you know, God knows what he's talking about. And it's just wonderful to see people just trusting God and finding the truth. And it's amazing. It's huge. It's just big. Okay.
So there we go. I hope you've enjoyed going along with us. I know a lot of you have made comments that you were looking forward to it.
Yeah.
It was worth it, worth the wait, and it's worth going if you can manage it all, even just as a destination, to go there, spend a few days or a week, and you could spend a couple of days at the Creation Science Museum
Yes.
and a couple of days at the Ark.
Yeah.
Like I said, we spent 7 hours there, and the first floor we went through pretty much everything, and the second floor we went through a little faster, and the third floor we went through a little faster. If you stopped and read every plaque and all the history and all the different things, you could spend you could spend 2 days there.
It's a good thing I'm a fast reader.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just took a picture so I could be sure and read it later.
Right. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it. We were certainly blessed by it.
Yeah, it was just a real treat right in the middle of this whole big trip.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So thank you for coming along with us.
Yes. And I just hope you're blessed by it, and live simple.
Live free.
We love you guys.
Okay, we'll see you next time.